first time using the coins. Where we currently are, we've not yet seen the adoption of the coins, the social coins, as an ecosystem. As a matter of fact, I think last week the central bank was banning the withdrawal of the translation of cash into coins and the other way around just last week. But I think it's the more trust is created, the more unanswered questions we begin to have. The more we'll see the adoption of Web3 and also all forms of digital currencies being adopted. I think we're at the beginnings of that early stage of all of this happening, and that's perhaps why I also mentioned that technology doesn't happen by itself. We have to be invested in regulating it, in creating environments that can enable it to flourish, in making sure it's working for and not necessarily against, and it's not being taken advantage of. So the more trust we see grow, the more deliberateness we see in making sure it's working for communities, for businesses, for government. I believe we'll soon begin to adapt the digital currencies. Thank you.
Okay. But I'm aware, I guess this is where Augustine's question is coming from. I'm aware these are ways of, in the cinema business, I know that I believe in France right now, there's a new coin being launched under Claude Lelouch, and it's a way to fund films. These coins are being sold in either smaller units or larger units with all sorts of benefits, but it's the objective to have enough funding to support creative independent films in a variety of genres that would not be supported through official mechanisms, the CNC, for instance. So I guess that's what he's alluding to, but you're saying we have to be careful. We should not rush into this. We have to build trust, and we have to master and not to be slave to the technology. I guess that's what you're saying. Yeah,
that's correct.
That's correct. Okay, let's now open our discussion. What do we want? What do we need? This is the elevator pitch. I'm sure you're prepared for this. You have the minister in the elevator with you for 2 minutes or a 5-minute ride or 20 minutes if you're in Dubai and you're going up this tallest tower in the world. So what are you asking the minister? What do you need in your work to accomplish your vision and your mission? I'll start with CK.
A pitch is something you're ready for until you're told to pitch. But I think for me, looking at the minister, really, everybody wants to, all of us are proud about the countries where we come from. And we want to, be in a country that's known as the best place to be an entrepreneur. And we want to create the environments that will enable entrepreneurs start, grow, and expand as a way of solving society challenges and building a whole country around entrepreneurship and technology. We've come to learn that policy can actually be used as a tool, as a weapon to empowering entrepreneurs. And really, for the minister, my request, or what we need to achieve, is putting in place that policy environment that can enable entrepreneurs start to grow. Whether these policies is speaking about incentivizing big multinationals to collaborate with entrepreneurs sustainably, is speaking about investing in attracting investment for entrepreneurs. But the bottom line is it's time for us to tap into policy to unlock opportunities for entrepreneurs in the country and region.
Did I not read that Uganda just signed an agreement with Netflix? Was it in Uganda that they signed this bilateral collaboration with Netflix for 2 years, I believe?
Yeah, it's in a number of African countries with Netflix, yeah.
And will that sort of benefit what you do?
It will. It creates opportunities for imagination about what's possible if we unlock more opportunities for the creatives. So that has become a critical outlet for the creativity an aspiration now for many young creators and makers. What we need to do is to ensure that the foundation on which they're standing is strong enough to enable them to compete at a regional and global level. Because even as a Netflix opportunity opens up, if that foundation is not firm enough, then they won't be able to reach and harness those opportunities even as they begin to open up.
Okay. Carla, your elevator pitch.
Thank you. I think we need like both, like a regulatory scheme and design a public policy that contains elements that clearly help to stimulate content creation. And this means not only stimulate like that environment of production, but also distribution and consumption of that content, right? And I think we need three mainly things. First, training, like in capacities to produce and distribute to the communities. Second, like facilitating maybe based on incentives and access to public and commercial media. What we were talking, like it's not only like to incentive this type of media, but also the access to other types of media. And the third one, I think, and it's important and we didn't talk about it, it's like to create an appropriate regulatory environment or framework to protect intellectual property, but like in accordance to their own worldview and regulatory systems. I think like the main conventions, Berna conventions and all of that are not like adequate to protect these kind of creations. So we need to also enable that like different framework. So I will talk about training, commercial media, access to commercial and public media, and also like start talking or thinking about this new regulatory framework.
Okay, and when you say intellectual property, correct me if I'm wrong, are you referring to traditional knowledge, intangible heritage, expressions of community ownership of traditional expressions and how to protect those expressions?
Exactly, because if we're talking like to access to this commercial media or to public media, it's important for us like that communities have their own like way of protecting their content and their creative economies.
But I believe Mexico is showing the way. I believe you've enacted a law or preparing a law that would recognize in the area of clothing and design of, no, is it not true, or it's an...
it's not the best law. That's the thing. Like it's like taking the common scheme of intellectual property and try to adapt to this